In previous class, we were discussing about a system landscape. In a system landscape, what we have seen, any development activities in any type of project, either supporting, implementation, or any project that you are handling, it has to be performed in a development system. We perform all the changes, all the development activities in development system. Remember, any new configurations, any changes to the configuration has to be performed in development system only. Once you perform that in development system, if you remember the system landscape that I shown previously, you guys, if you could recollect it. So once we do that in development system, then you thoroughly test that. After testing, what we will do, then we will move that into a quality system to perform various testings. Even before you move to quality system, what we will do, we will also move that. I mean, we will also test that in development system itself. Then we will be able to test, or after testing in a development system, then you will move that to your quality system for testing purpose, right? Then what we will do, then we are going to perform a testing one more time in your quality system to understand whether all the functionality is working fine or not. If you remember, this is the system landscape that we discussed yesterday. Development system, you call this as a modifiable system. If you look into this here across all three systems, development system is the only system which is modifiable. All other systems are non-modifiable. All other systems, in a sense, your quality system and production system, both are non-modifiable systems. And all the development you perform here, including customizations, development, any program level changes, any new configurations, any small change that you want to do it, you have to use only development system. Then you test it in the development system itself. Only then, only when you satisfy or you feel that it meets all the requirements of the business, then move that to quality system. In the quality system, you perform various other testings, then you will move finally, once you get UAT approvals from a business, to production system. This is the simple landscape that we need to remember. In any project, as a consultant, whenever you are joining for the first time, remember there will be a lot of confusion which system you are logged into. Make sure each system you will also make a different color to your GUI so that it will be easy for you to recognize the moment you log in. It will give you indication that, okay, this is different system. Otherwise, what happens the moment you log in, so it will be like all the screens looks exactly the same. Otherwise, it is difficult for you to realize what exactly the system that you are currently logged into, right? In case you require, I'll just show you a couple of systems, how it looks like here practically, so that you will be able to understand whenever you wanted to see that. Let me share my screen once again. Let's say that this is what the GUI Launchpad, all of you might have already installed. I had given you the link in yesterday. In case those who have not yet installed, you install it, then you will get these connections later, like I mentioned. If you see these connections, let's say this is my development system. Okay. If you are connecting to development system, this is connecting to client 800. If you see this here, it is directly getting into 800, but this is actually the ECC system. But anyway, this is EHP7 version. Okay. If you remember the version that we are talking about, this is ECC EHP7 version. This is client 800. Whenever you look into this client numbers, this is called a client. In this case, I'm calling it as a QS1, QS2. Here, I'm calling it as a PS1. Here, I might call dev 100, dev 200, something like that. Okay. So here, this is one system. If I go back here and see if I'll open other system, you will see this system, which is going to connect to different server or different client, I would say. Okay. If you look into this overall, maybe that is not getting connected. Let me get into other system and I'll just show you. If you see this system is connecting to client 100, right? But this is connecting to different system. It will be difficult when you see all the screens are in the same color, which system that you are currently logged into. If you click here and use this client number and also the system, which will tell you, for example, it says a DPK, development package, for example. Okay. That's how you can identify your system, which system that you are connected to. That is very much important for you to be aware which system that you are connected every time. Otherwise, whenever you are working across multiple environments, we'll call it as environment. If you see this system says S4H, right? Excuse me. Depending on your client that you are working, you will have a multiple clients or a multiple servers you may need to connect. Like a development, you will have a multiple development clients, and quality, again, you will have a multiple clients. It's not just one client within development. Like we seen yesterday, you will have a multiple clients in development, multiple clients in quality system also. In which system you supposed to perform all changes, in which system you supposed to test, all that you need to keep in your mind very clearly without any confusions. Make sure you log into the right system the moment it required for you to test or to perform various development activities. And there are certain activities or certain configurations, or I would say certain changes required to be made directly in a production system. They are exceptional cases. Only very few things that we perform in production system. In your interview, they will try to ask or try to understand your knowledge, how far you are aware about it. So when you say certain things, it is not possible to perform any changes in production directly. Why not? The next question is why not, right? You should be in a position to justify your answer, whether you are saying right or wrong. You can say no in production, but if you are not able to justify, whatever you said may not be valid. If you say yes again, they might ask you some examples or tell me any one scenario that you have done in your previous projects, right? We should be in a position to answer all these kind of things. Make sure we understand the system landscape very clearly. Then accordingly, whenever it is required, you will get into that system. In our upcoming sessions, you will also see whenever I am doing it, I'll clearly tell you which system I'm currently in, where I am doing everything, where we're supposed to do. Then you will understand that will become your normal routine during our sessions. That is going to be the same thing you are going to apply in one project as well. Okay. Now let's get back with a revision what we have done. So with that, if you are all comfortable with what we discussed so far about our system landscape, then we will see in upcoming sessions what are the other things that for you to understand. Refer to this interview questions that I had given already, which will give you some idea what kind of questions can I expect, right? What are the things that I need to understand as a part of my training before I appear for an interview? You should be aware about all these things. Will I be able to answer confidently? All that you can check yourself. Okay, these are the very few questions. There are a lot many questions which can be asked. For that, you need to be prepared. You will be prepared. It's not just by hearting the questions, right? You don't need to by heart it. It has to become your a normal thing, as if like you worked in a previous project. That will come only through experience or listening to experienced people, or practically you do that on a system. We'll do that on a system so that you will understand and remember very easily. Okay. All right. That's for a system landscape, just to understand. In today's session, what we will do, we'll get continue with another topic, particularly financial accounting module. We are talking about FICO. In FICO, the first portion comes into picture, which is financial accounting. Like I mentioned earlier, financial accounting is one of the core module for any business for them to prepare external financial reporting. Whenever we look into financial accounting as an ERP system, financial accounting is something where you will be preparing external financial reports. What do you mean by external financial reports? Can anybody help me? What will be the external financial reports? Whenever you look into financial reports, external, what comes to your mind? What are the things? What are the reports do you think are part of it? Anyone with your understanding so far, what you have seen? I see some charts, balance sheet, perfect. What else? Apart from balance sheet, I'll put that here. Balance sheet. Okay. You are free to unmute and also you share your opinion. Nothing to worry. Only balance sheet. There are a few more. BRS. Okay. BRS. It's not actually fine. A PNL. Yes.
Income statement, cash
Income
flow.
statement. Yeah. PNL is also called as an income statement. Okay. Generally, we call this as a P&L statement. That is a profit and loss statement or an income statement, depending on certain countries. Some people will call it as income statement. Some people will call it as P&L statement. Yeah, but both are same. Yeah. What else?
Cash flow.
Cash flow statements. Yes. Okay. Why do we need this external financial reportings? Why should I prepare this? First thing, let's start understanding at a very high level. We are not going to work as an accountant, but just for our understanding purpose to gain more knowledge, we should be aware. Why? Why should I prepare this? Why company should prepare this?
To view the company's financial health.
To know the company's financial health, yes. Who will be the interested people to look into this generally?
Like the external stakeholders,
External
investors.
stakeholders, investors, yes, who else? There is a bankers who will be interested. The country's tax department is also more interested to see who is making how much profit, whether they're really genuinely paying taxes or not. The tax department of that respective country is also more interested, right? And external stakeholders like people whoever is investing in that company, they will also look into it. And internal employees also will be looking into it. It is important for employees also to know. I don't know how many of you will look into your company's financial statements, but that will actually tells you how your company is performing. Is it a really good choice for you to stay with that company for a long term or not? Right? There are many other people who will look into it. Now, do you think whenever I say external financial reportings, is this information publicly available for me to check for any company? Let's consider Amazon, for example. Amazon or Walmart, any company that you consider, can I go and check their financial statements?
Yes, we can.
Generally, where do we check their financial statements if I'm interested to check? If you go to their website, officially they will also publish it if it is publicly listed company. Okay. So let's say, for example, I'll quickly take you through one such example, how to see that. Maybe it's not really required for us to go deep, but we need to know what exactly it is, how exactly it looks like. There are certain things which is going to be helpful in our journey later. You need to replicate the same report for your client as well. They might share the link with you. This is our financial statement. This is what we are expecting. Now we need to start thinking innovatively how to bring this financial statement out of my ERP system. What are the things I need to ask my client and what information I need to gather from them? You need to gather a lot of business requirements from that. To gather, they are giving you the clue, right? By providing this link or the financial statement information, they are giving you the clue what they are expecting from you. Now, straight away, you cannot print this statement as it is. Let me go to annual reports here. If I go here, it says 2024 annual report. Annual report contains huge number of pages generally. That's a common thing for any organization. If I go here, you will find somewhere your income statement and also balance sheet of Amazon. Let's say this is submitted in US. Okay. In US, whenever they submit along with Form 10K. Okay. This is a common thing, common practice that depending on country to country, there is certain legal complaints that they follow. Let's say if you look into this index, it will tell you where to refer your financial statements. First section is all about business, risk factors, all the other stuff that I'm not interested at this moment. But if I go here, Form 10K summary, part 4, and if I go down, okay, I don't see it, but let me see where exactly we have this financials, management disclosure about analysis, financial statements. Let me check this. You see financial statement and supplementary data here, item number 8, page number 33. Okay. Let us see. Otherwise, you will also have exhibits, financial statements, and schedules. We have at item number 15 as well. Let's check with this one, page number 33. Then we'll get into 74 as well. Okay. If I go to 33, okay, it is still not landing here. We are able to see what is this exactly. Let me see this. It looks like, oh, it is saying yes, results of operation, but it looks like overall your P&L statement. Okay, but it is not a clear information. But anyway, we can check where exactly it is. Okay. Now let me go to 73. If it has here. Okay, it looks like it is a breakup of it, but let me see if it is a summarized format, where exactly it is. Because we haven't got used to US company financial statements, right? That might be one of the reason where you are not able to see exactly where exactly it is available. If you see this is talking about financial instruments only. These are like a notes to your financial statements. Let me go up. It should be somewhere at the top. Consolidated balance sheet. You can see the balance sheet information here. They will give you, or they will tell you to refer from page number 51 for a balance sheet information. When you look into this, as a consultant, what you need to do is, as a consultant, first thing, the basic quality what we should possess is you should know how to read financial things. Meaning, you should know what do you mean by current asset, what do you mean by marketable securities, what do you mean by inventories, whether it is an asset or a liability. This confusion we shouldn't have it. That basic things we should be aware about. What do you mean by assets? What do you mean by liabilities? What do you mean by balance sheet nature? First of all, my balance sheet always, it should equal my all assets equal to liabilities and equities. It has to match with that. When I see all my total of the assets, total of assets per current year 2024, this is 2023, refer to this year. This is called comparative financial statements when comparing with prior year to the current year. So I have in my current year, total assets is 624,000. Maybe this is in millions. Okay, this is in millions. 624,000 millions. If I go to liabilities, this liabilities and shareholders equity together, it has to match. This both the numbers supposed to be exactly the same always. This is what we need to make sure this is matching, right? Whenever we prepare as a consultant or whenever we bring these numbers from SAP, you should be able to match this. This is what we need to make sure. Always your assets equals to liabilities and equity. So when you understand this pattern, now you need to understand all other points, whatever you see here. What do you mean by all these properties or PP&E, all other assets that you see? What are the other liabilities that you see, including current liabilities, long-term liabilities, how your shareholders equity is presented in their statements. When you understand this, then it will become easy for you to bring from SAP all the same information. Now, don't worry too much information here. You just need to in a position to understand what do you mean by financial statements, what are external financial reports, how it has been grouped here. That's the level of information I need to understand. This, if I want to understand at a very high level, balance sheet has been categorized into assets and liabilities, two major sections. Under assets, again, I have a breakdown, current assets and fixed assets. What do you mean by current assets? So all these are book definitions we might have studied in our academic days or we are aware about. Later in our upcoming classes, in case you require, I'll go deep dive into all this if required. Otherwise, you are free to refer to any material that you are comfortable with and understand the meaning of it. That's more than enough. Under current assets, what are the things that you see it? What are the things that you see under fixed assets? What are the categories that you see under liabilities, including current liabilities and long-term liabilities? Everything we should have a clarity. Depending on that, we are going to prepare customers' financial statements as and when we are asked to, right? As a consultant, whenever you are working, what is the major thing that we are going to do is we need to understand their financial statements, how it has been prepared, and what they are expecting, that we should have a clarity. From there on, what we will do, we will be able to prepare a financial statements for them very easily. If you don't understand their core structure, what they are looking for, then it will be difficult for us as a consultant to manage it. So this, in simple, this is your balance sheet information. If I go here, you will see this is equity information. There might be an income statement just about this. Let me see that. This is consolidated. Here I can see consolidated statements of operations, and here is a cash flow here. And starting from here, if you see, cash flow is one of the statement that they prepared. Of course, they prepared for 3 comparative years, 22, 23, 24. Okay. Now you can see consolidated statement of operations. This is your income statement or a profit and loss account. Your profit and loss account always will contain 2 major portions that we need to understand. One is a top line, other one is a bottom line. What is top line? All your sales or revenues is called a top line of the operations. This is where it starts with in your income statement. All the business activity starts with earning revenue from the customers. To earn the revenue, from that revenue, what is my profit portion? I need to understand. To earn this income, I might have already spent a lot of money. Whenever I'm selling something to my customer, it is not all the money is mine, right? Because I already spent some in that, some portion in that to procure some materials, to pay to my employees, to pay a rent, to pay any other expenses that is relevant to until I sell this product, right? Including the taxes. I need to reduce all these expenses from my total revenue. That is what you see here. Your total sales, for example, total net sales, it says if I consider current year in this statement, I'm not talking about 2026 year. As per this statement, the current year is 2024. For a 2024 year, 637 million is what it happened. 637 thousands of millions of revenue they earned it. Okay. From that revenue, if they exclude all the operating expenses, what are part of operating expenses? Your cost of sales, fulfillment, technology and infrastructure, sales and marketing expense, general and admin expenses, other operating expenses. If they reduce all these 569,000 expenses, they're left with operating income of just 68,000 millions out of 637 sales that they did. It's like close to 12 to 13% of it. You see this? They made so huge sales for an year. Doesn't mean that everything is a profit for them. They need to give or pay for all these expenses. Only after paying all these expenses, if you see this, right, let me see this. Okay, you will get only 68,000 here. If you are able to see only 68,000 out of 637, still they have some more portion to reduce, which means they still need to calculate how much interest they have to pay to the banks and other people from where they borrowed the money. To earn this money, they have to spend all this even before you sell it. From where you get all this money? You might have borrowed loan or from a bank or someone else. For all that, you need to pay interest as well. And you see that all that interest expenses particularly. Interest income is something that you are earning because you made some fixed deposits or elsewhere you given the money to someone else. That's a different portion. Net to net, still Other income they have in this case, that is getting added additional 21 millions. Okay. So let's say 68,614 millions is a total income or a loss before taxes. Now your taxes will eat up a big portion. You need to consider the taxes also. There is some other expenses that they are taking away from the taxes, and some more taxes. Final, after all the taxes, you see net income or a loss. It is coming to 59,248 millions. If you consider this in a percentage, 59,248 on 637 is a less than 10%. Less than 10% is what their margin. Now, this is the overall structure that we should have an idea. You are not going to sit and calculate all these numbers. Nothing to worry. You don't worry. All the things that we need to aware is what is the structure that they have it. If I understand a high level structure, okay, they start with a net sales, then they will have a operating expenses, then they will also have operating income, interest portion, and other incomes. Then they'll arrive income or a loss before taxes. Then they have a tax portion. Then finally they will arrive net income. If you are aware about these high level groupings, that's more than enough. Why you need to know that is, whenever you wanted to run this financial statement, you need to aware about how to run this financial statement, right? So whenever you wanted to prepare this financial statement, how exactly you need to categorize all these things, that we will see practically when you get into the system. Maybe if possible, I'll show you how it is going to look like for one of the company that we have already prepared. Otherwise, we will look into our financial statement, our what do you say, our client, or the practically whatever you are going to look into it later. So let me see if I can show you that how you are going to look into the financial statement. This is a SAP screen that some of you are already familiar with. If I go to F.01, this will tell me how I can run my financial statements. Now here you have an option where you can run with chart of accounts. So let's say that I'll pick up any one of the company codes chart of accounts. Let me pick one of the chart of accounts. Let me see. We haven't set for our company code or any example that we have taken. Let me go with 1000 for now. And let me see if I can run directly financial statement version. I don't know if the version is already set or not. It looks like it is not available. But let me go with one of these company codes. Looks like somebody is already created AB33 here. Okay, let me go with AB33. Let me see if I have AB33. We don't have okay, AB33 here. And period, I'm currently using reporting financial year 26 comparing with 25, current year with prior year. Let us see that how it looks like. When I run this report, your business might ask you certain changes. Here currently I don't see any values because it is not yet posted anything. Okay, maybe let me compare this with 25 with 24 and let me see if that has any data in prior years. Here also I don't see anything. It's just a version they created, but however they don't have any data here. But later what we can do is I'll show you clearly. I just wanted to show you the reporting, the groupings you will find it here. What groupings you will find it? Similar to what you have seen here, exactly the same groupings you will find it. Right? Whenever you wanted to replicate or wanted to make certain changes as per your business requirement, we should be aware what exactly the groupings that you wanted to bring in. If you wanted to bring all these groupings here, let's say they might expect to see, I wanted to see first all my current assets in a balance sheet. Instead of current assets, can you please bring fixed assets first? Then can you push current assets to the down? You need to understand what are part of current assets, or they might give you a new item tomorrow. They will give you accounts receivable. Hey, can you please include this accounts receivable in a balance sheet? Now you should ask the right questions at least. If you don't know accounts receivable is a part of balance sheet or not, first thing. And if it is a part of balance sheet, where am I supposed to place? Should I place under assets? Should I place under liabilities? If you ask a wrong question, they might think, this guy don't know anything. That's a one doubt you have it. Should I ask or not? If you don't ask, you don't know what exactly you need to do. Now you need to be smart and ask the right question and still make sure you doesn't look like a person who don't know anything, right? These are the small techniques you need to use whenever you are not sure about certain things. That all those things we'll discuss. How to ask the right questions, what are the right questions, what is not right. Even before you ask, what are the basic things that we should be aware, all that things we will discuss, and I'll help you to make sure you understand it the right way, and so that you can manage it independently without much support or challenges on your way. Okay, that's one thing that we need to understand. For us to continue this journey, let's continue to understand what exactly in financial statements, external financial statements, particularly, I need to start understanding. Okay, so this is going to be helpful for you as a consultant, how you need to manage many things, whatever comes on your way, right? Let's see that we will understand various things. Now we have seen few things. What do you mean by financial statement? What are the financial statements that I'm going to expect from this? Now you have some idea. What are the financial statements or external financial statements that you are going to expect from business? They might also share the link with you to see this, right? Whenever you wanted to understand uh, these things, we'll see what are the other points that we have it here, right? Let's see that. So I'll quickly help you to proceed from here to understand all the financial statements. Okay. So now let's say whenever I start the first thing about external financial reporting or a financial statements, as a consultant, we should be comfortable with by looking into financial statements, I can understand what exactly it is. All the balance sheet, my P&L statement or income statement or a cash flow statement. So these are the three things for sure we should have some high level idea how to read them. Now, like I mentioned, you know how to read your income statement, right? How your revenues will start with, how do you calculate your bottom line, that is profit or a loss. So that if you look into the statement, you will understand very clearly. Okay. Now, if you understand how to reach to that profit and loss, I think everybody is aware that with the example that I have shown here, you start with revenues, which means all the income that you are getting from various sources, sales and non-sales and everything. And then you will exclude from that all your expenses. Then you will arrive to your bottom line, where you will calculate your profit. That's a one thing that you see. In a balance sheet, you generally update your all liabilities and assets. Now you need to understand there is something called accounting cycle. For us to prepare all these financial statements, either account, profit and loss account, or a cash flow statement, or a balance sheet, there is something called accounting cycle that we need to understand. How these statements are prepared based on the transactions happened in a business. What transactions happened in business? Business has performed various activities. So they came up with all this. Now, when you see this, what happens? Let's say, for example, so let's understand something called accounting cycle. For us to prepare all financial statements, I need to have good understanding about accounting cycle. Let's look into this. Whenever those who worked as an accountant or working as an accountant or seen accounting in your career or academically, help me understand when anyone who started their business, if they wanted to know how much profit or a loss they made, or what is the total assets and liabilities that they have. In short, if I want to see my balance sheet or a profit and loss account or a cash flow statements, what is the first thing that I need to have it? How I need to see this in terms of accounting? Don't worry about SAP at this moment. We'll talk about SAP later. All I want you to get comfortable with accounting first. SAP is purely existing to help businesses to manage their accounting processes, nothing else. If you understand your core accounting process, the same thing you are going to replicate in SAP, and you need to make sure you can manage it in SAP. That's all we need to do. Now, what is the first thing that you need for you to prepare external financial statements, for example? Without this, you cannot even understand or cannot prepare it. During your academics also, you might have prepared these financial statements, or somebody who worked in FP&A roles or R2R roles, you might also had some exposure to see this. Okay, I'll try to see making journal entry. Very good. Journal entry is something that we need. Okay, so I'll put that journal entry. Okay, what else? First, you need a journal entry. Then what do we do from the journal entry?
General ledger
You need to prepare general ledger. Let me call it as a GL. Okay.
and trial balance.
You need to prepare a trial balance. Very good. In short, I'm just putting it as a TB. What next? Once I prepare a TB, still I haven't arrived my balance sheet, right? Then you might need to prepare your income statement, income or P&L statement. Next, you are going to prepare your balance sheet, right? What else? So for us to start a journal entry, there is something called, so let me call this, on top of all these things, we have a one more thing. What is the base for me to write a journal entry? Based on what we will write a journal entry, what is required?
Transactions.
This is something very important for us. This is where your overall accounting cycle starts with. So what is transaction here? Let me call this as business transaction. Anything that has financial impact. If something that do not have a financial impact, can I write a journal entry? Let's say employees joined my organization. Can I consider this as a business transaction? Should we generally call that? Employee joined my organization. No, right? There is no financial impact when employees join, right? Monetarily, when you make a payment or in terms of salary to them, that's a different thing. But the moment employee join your organization, there is no journal entry for it. You can't even call that as a business transaction. What is business transaction? Let's understand now. The business transaction is something which has a financial impact. Either you will receive a money or you will pay money to that. Either instantly you will pay or later you need to pay. Later in the sense you are enjoying that benefit from now. Let's say you are purchasing a laptop for your office. Okay, when you purchase a laptop for your office, obviously you need to make a payment to the other person who is a third party. That is going to be a liability for you at this moment. Forget about too much of jargon like a liability and asset. Now you are purchasing, you need to make a payment to that person or to the company from wherever you are purchasing. Now this is called as a business transaction. Okay. Now you purchase today and after 1 week you are making a payment to this same transaction that happened. That payment is called a business transaction. That you say transaction, payment transaction. Now you are selling something to your customers. Maybe you are running a business where you are manufacturing some FMCG products. Think about some water bottles or any juice that you are manufacturing or packing. You prepare mineral water and you pack it and sell it. You are selling a water bottle to customer. That customer has to pay you back. When customer is paying money or while you are selling that product to them, both the ways you call that as a transaction. Selling to your customer is a transaction and receiving money from your customer is also another transaction. There are two transactions. That's where a business transaction starts with. Anything that has a financial impact. You think you can see some money from that activity is called transaction. You can also call this as activity, I would say. Business activity that contains financial impact. Okay, that's the most important thing that we need to remember. In any transaction, if you wanted to see whether it is eligible or a qualified journal entry or not, then you need to think about financial impact, either now or later point because of that. Okay. Then what you will do, you will prepare a journal entry. For me to prepare a journal entry, what I need to understand, there is something called some basic rules of accounting. There are some rules of accounting. Depending on nature of transaction, you need to write some rules, or you need to understand certain uh, points how to prepare a journal entry. For example, let's say I'm starting my business. Anything that you start with, uh, let's say Mr. Robert started business with capital of dollar 10,000. Okay, $10,000. He started a business. Now he is bringing some cash into the business. There is a direct impact of money here. That is a business transaction. Now you need to write this as a journal entry. So what is the base for me to write a journal entry? There are certain things I need to understand. Every business transaction contains two things, right? What are two things? One is, you call it as in a core accounting, debit. Other one, you call it as a credit. For me to understand in a better way, I need to break down this transaction into debit and credit. How do I do that? Debit, there are certain rules. I need to understand rule. What is the rule for debit and what is the rule again for credit? Right? Let's say in this transaction, can anybody help me? What are the two things which impacts? In accounting, we know that every debit always should have equivalent credit as well. Whenever I bring $10,000 into business as a capital, if I consider capital as one account, right? Capital is one account, let's say $10,000. Now, what should be other side of the account whenever I want to write a journal entry?
Cash or bank?
Cash or bank, very good. Let's say cash or bank. It also supposed to be $10,000, right? Now, I don't know which one is debit, which one is credit at this moment. For me to decide that, I need to know certain rules. Now, let's try to apply some rules, or directly, can anybody tell me the journal entry? Whenever we introduce a capital to the business, what should be the journal entry? How should I write it?
Cash bank debit to capital.
Cash, you are debiting, okay, and we are crediting capital. Okay, we are able to write this, but I'm still more interested to see, why am I debiting cash? Why? Why cash has to debit? Why can't I credit this?
We are investing the amount in business.
Okay, we are investing money into the business. If I want
Yeah.
to slightly convert this into a logical way for me to understand, okay, this transaction I'm investing, I'm okay. What if I'm selling something? Maybe I wanted to understand for each and every business transaction, how to convert this into a journal entry. That's what we need to understand going further. So what we will do here, the next quick point to understand, I hope all of you will be able to recollect this fundamental rules of accounting that you have studied in your academic days, or in one or the other form you might have heard about this. I'll just help you to
Yes.
see this, right? How to debit, how to credit every account, right? What we will do before we write any journal entry, you need to understand first thing, types of accounts, right? There are three types of accounts. We divide all these kind of transactions. Any business transaction you consider can be understand or categorized into three different account groups. First account group, I would say, let's say real account. We say something called a real accounts, and there is something called a personal accounts. What do you mean by personal accounts? Any account that is related to individuals or an organization, that is a personal account. And there is something called a nominal accounts. What is nominal again here? Nominal accounts is something that do not have anything that can be attached as a person or an organization, but that may not have a physical existence also. That will become our nominal account. Real accounts are something like which contains a physical existence, but there is no person or organization that I can be attached with. Okay, you can have a different understanding as well. Let's see that real accounts. If I want to see the real accounts, for example, cash, which has a physical form of it, bank, cash, bank, and all other your assets, any asset that you consider physical assets, that is called a fixed assets. All the fixed assets is also part of your real accounts. Personal account, let's say you are dealing with one person, let's say you are selling some products to XYZ, or you are purchasing some materials from ABC. Those people or organizations will become personal accounts where you see the people's names or organization names directly. And nominal account, something like what you see as an expense or an income for your organization. Those things where you don't see how you will categorize. Now, let's say that, for example, if I want to understand certain rules here, I would say debit and let me put that as a credit. As per real accounting rules, if you understand, there is a different structure people might have got used to. This is one of the method how you can understand how to write a journal entry. Okay, there is a different methods that we can also touch base later. Anyway, we are not here to learn the accounting, but there are a few basic things that you need to be aware, because whenever you are performing various testings, we understood the system landscape earlier. As part of system landscape, what I should be aware, whenever I complete certain configuration, I should be in a position to test the system as well. Test system in the sense, you need to perform various testings. You need to write a test script to test the configuration, whether it is working fine or not. For that reason, we need to understand what is the basic thing, how to write that journal entry. Otherwise, what happens? We might misunderstand, we might write a wrong journal entry there. For that reason, what you need to make sure, you need to know how exactly these journal entries are derived or how to prepare a journal entry. This is something very important for us to. Okay. So you are not going to become an expert, or you don't need to become an expert on this, but if you are aware how to write a journal entry or how to understand, that's more than enough. Now, as per real accounts, if I want to debit any accounts, what is the rule that we do it? Anybody recollect that you have studied from your academic days, or what you follow? Do we know what exactly and how do we use this? I mean, how do I write journal entry as per real accounts? Debit.
Uh,
Mhm.
What comes in, credit, what goes
Exactly.
out.
Yeah. What comes in the sense, whenever you are performing any business transaction, let's consider this quickly. Robert started business with capital. Robert is a owner. He started his own business. He brought capital. Whenever people bring capital into the business, not necessary that always it has to be their own cash as well, right? Somebody might invest their own cash, or somebody might borrow from banks or someone else. Now here, what is coming in this case?
Okay, sorry, can anyone confirm if you guys can see my screen and I can hear me again?
Yes,
Yes,
you can
Sorry,
see.
there was a slight interruption in the network, so I think there was a disconnection. Okay, now the person whoever is starting their business and brought capital, is there something coming into the business? What is coming in case if I want to understand?
cash or
Cash.
capital.
Cash is coming in, right? In this case, so is the reason cash is a real account. It is coming inside, so I'm debiting cash debit. Why? That qualifies or that tells you here why am I debiting? Because it is coming in as per one of the accounting rules. Whenever something comes in, particularly like an assets, then I'll debit this. Opposite side, it will become a credit. So now I will say what goes out. This is what you need to understand in simple. Okay, that's the reason I'll put if any cash is going out. Let's say I'm paying rent or paying a salary. Let's say salaries paid to employees. What you will do here, salaries account and cash
Data
account
to
both, right?
cash account. Yeah.
Salaries will get debit and your cash will get credit. Why am I crediting cash? Cash is going out here,
Going out.
right? This is the simple fundamental logic that we need to remember. Now, when it comes to personal accounts, you might say, I am paying cash to ABC, to the person called ABC. In that case, personal accounts comes into picture. Here, what you say, again, we have a slightly different rules here to understand.
Yeah.
What will be
Debit
that
the receiver,
debit the
credit the giver.
receiver, and credit the giver. Very good. So you will say credit the giver. In personal accounts, whoever is receiving the final benefit, a financial benefit, it can be cash or it can be goods, anything it can be, right? So then you will debit that person account. And if somebody is giving to us, to the business, you will record their name under credit side. That's simple understanding. Similarly, for a nominal accounts, if I want to understand nominal accounts, like I mentioned, these are like expenses, losses, incomes, gains. Now, how do I need to understand this?
Debit all expenses and losses,
Debit
credit
all
all income and
expenses and
gains.
losses and credit
Income
all
all gain,
incomes and gains.
incomes and gains.
Simple. This is the simple table. If you remember this, whenever you are performing any testing, it will become very easy for you. You don't need to become an expert in this, but just as a hint, I'm just telling you, which will be helpful whenever you want to perform your various testings. You will be in a position to prepare your own journal entries without any struggle, or you can easily understand why you need to debit, why you need to credit certain accounts. Okay. So to make this example very clear, what I'll do, I'll list down few business transactions and prepare financial statements out of this. Okay. We'll do this exercise. Maybe with the interest of time, let me stop here to clarify all of our questions. What we will do in next session, we will list down some business transactions quickly. We'll prepare a journal entries. We'll complete this accounting cycle. We'll follow the accounting cycle. First, I'll list down all the business transactions, at least few for us to understand. Then we'll write a journal entries for all of them, and we'll prepare GL balances, trial balance, income statement, and balance sheet. All of them will prepare in simple way so that you will understand how to prepare or how to understand accounting cycle. The same accounting cycle is going to be applicable in your SAP also, but you will not be doing everything. Business transactions will be performed by your business users. They will write the journal entries. They will only prepare GL balance. They will only prepare trial balance. They will only prepare income statement. They will only prepare balance sheet. But in a back end, we are the people going to play a crucial role to help them to prepare all this. Whenever they are posting a journal entry, they might encounter some issue. Who are they going to approach? They will talk to consultant first. They will raise an incident or a ticket or request to fix this issue. As a consultant, you need to understand at which stage it is uh, becoming an issue and how to understand this issue. Now you need to replicate the same issue in our system. For you to replicate this issue, you need to understand what am I supposed to do? Okay. Whenever I'm posting my entry, I'm getting an error. Which entry? Is it a debit entry, credit entry, vendor entry, customer entry, or asset related entry? There are too many entries. Each entry is nothing but one business transaction. Which business transaction are they trying? They will tell you try any vendor credit posting. Or whenever I'm raising a credit memo to the vendor, I'm not able to post it. This is a simple error message they are telling you. But you need to understand what do you mean by vendor, what do you mean by credit memo, which account to debit, which account to credit, how to test that. You need to recreate or we'll say replicate the issue and check in your development or a quality system why this is happening. Are you also not able to do it? Or is it only problem to that user? For you to understand that, you need to know how to write a journal entry, or they might tell you, whenever I'm running a trial balance, I don't see this trial balance. What is generally, if I want to ask you one quick point, what is trial balance nature? How do you understand trial balance? First thing, How can you say whether it is a correct or not by looking into it? Anybody can tell very easily whether your trial balance is correct or wrong. One fundamental rule.
The debit and credit both should match.
Exactly. Your trial balance always should match debits and credits. Now your business user will say, hey, I'm trying to run a trial balance, but something is wrong. I don't know why. They cannot directly tell you whether debit is wrong or a credit is wrong, but they will tell you something is wrong. Then what do you mean by something? It is not exact what you need to investigate. You don't know. When they say something, where to start, where to end, you don't know. Now we need to have this basic understanding. What do you mean by trial balance, first of all? You can't go back and ask them, what do you mean by trial balance? Tell me. No, you cannot ask that question, right? So as a consultant, we should be smart enough to understand what exactly they are trying to do. What we will do in next session, we'll go deep and understand this and prepare one set of accounting cycle for few business transactions, which will become easy for you to understand. Then you will also practice similar thing, which will be very easy for you. Okay. So, all right, let me stop here and so that you guys can ask any questions so far that you have it.